Josh Hennig.
Yes, we are back from a busy weekend. Josh Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN. Wow, what a weekend for the Phillies. If you are a Phillies fan, this was a great weekend for you guys in Phillies land. We'll get into all that and more coming up here on 97.3 ESPN FM. The 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. We are live on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig. So here's the rundown. We got to get to the Phillies taking 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers this weekend. Plus, March Madness concludes on April 7th. I always laugh about that. It's like, March Madness concludes in April. Is there anything more sports? Really quick. Because I have a buddy of mine. So, and I want to name him on the radio because he might be listening. So he's not a diehard sports fan like I am. But he enjoys sports, right? He's a guy who likes to watch sports for the fun of it. And because he has his favorite, he's a Philly sports fan. But he's also the same guy who will be like, why is Red October finishing in November? Why is March Madness finishing in April? Why is the 2017 NFL season including in 2018? Like, he's that guy. He's the guy who, basically, treats sports like they need to be more exact. Whereas me, I'm just like, great, sports game, let's go. He's just like, it's ridiculous how, and I'm just like, all right, bro, relax. I hope I'm the only person who has that friend. Also, I got into a conversation yesterday when I was watching the Phillies game, and I put it out on my Twitter. I had a bunch of people coming at me at Josh Hennig, agreeing and disagreeing with me about this, about the Phillies uniforms. We're going to get into that a little bit later this hour as well, because I want to know from you guys at 609-403-0973, your DMs into 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. You guys tell me, wherever you're consuming the show, thank you for watching, consuming, listening, however you're doing the show. But coming up in about 10 minutes, I have a question for all of you, and I need everyone listening to contribute, because it's a question that everyone has an opinion about. I promise you, if you are listening to the sound of my voice, in 10 minutes, actually less than 10 minutes, when I ask this question, you are going to have an opinion about it. But first, before we get to that, big weekend series win for the Phillies. And I got to tell you guys, I thought the Phillies would 2 out of 3 this weekend, but it definitely didn't go the way I thought it would go. The series went differently than I anticipated, because my original prediction on Friday's show was I thought they were going to win Friday, Saturday, lose Sunday. Well, they won Friday, lost Saturday, and then came from behind and won Sunday. And I think that we have to give this team a lot of credit, because I thought Ruben Amaro Jr. said it perfectly this morning on the Philly Show podcast when he talked about what we saw from the Phillies in the win yesterday. Because we're going to stick positive first before we go negative, because there is a negative from the weekend. There also is a positive. And the positive is the Phillies showed you why they are a legitimate chance. They're a legitimate team with a legitimate chance to win a World Series. Ruben Amaro Jr. verbalized it perfectly here.
They won 2 out of 3 games against what is supposed to be the best team in baseball. So that tells you a little bit about, 1, their talent, and 2, their grit, because they're a gritty team, and they continue to – you've seen that since 2022. They find ways to put themselves in a position to win, and they don't give up. And they had a chance to roll over after they lost the lead on Sunday, and they didn't roll over.
2 amazing points there by Ruben Amaro Jr. Number 1, he talks about how the team's grit and resilience, That is a huge, huge part of this conversation because they did not get the best effort from everyone this weekend. There were moments, and we'll get into Jordan Romano in a bit, but there were multiple moments this weekend where you realize this was not the best version of your Philadelphia Phillies. There were multiple moments this weekend when you realized that the Phillies were not giving you their best in some of these games. Because in reality, you can't be your best every single day. But in order for you to win 3-2 on Friday and 8-7 on Sunday, there was a level of resilience and fight that was necessary from this team to win those games. And frankly, if it wasn't for JT Realmuto being your catcher, I don't know if you win Friday's game because he bails out the bullpen twice, throwing out runners trying to steal. I mean, one of the greatest catch to exchange to throw. And just for those who don't understand, so I used to play catcher in high school, mostly because I was the only guy willing to do it. And I learned very quickly that the key to throwing the ball to get a guy out at second or third base had nothing to do with arm strength. It was something I had to learn very quickly on, that being able to throw really hard didn't matter. Everything about being a catcher in terms of throwing runners out was how quickly can you get the ball into your glove, from your left hand glove into your right hand, which is your throwing hand, into the position to throw the ball, and then releasing it. And we know that JT Realmuto has been one of the best and the fastest at that exchange. The exchange from catching the ball into the throwing hand and then throwing the ball. He's one of the best, frankly, not just in baseball right now, but of the last, I don't know, it's maybe him and two other guys in the last 25 years. And especially the Ohtani one. The catch to throw exchange, all happening in one motion, the speed and the efficiency that he does it is absolutely amazing to someone like me, who I remember having to learn that as a 14 and 15-year-old. And I mean, I think the only thing that was more difficult for me to learn in my life, that was like retraining how I thought about something that I had to drill again and again, was probably the time I realized that my idea of playing golf was pretty bad. I always say, if I had to rank in sports, the top 3 hardest sports functions, I'll call it, to do. Number 1, hitting a baseball. Hitting a fastball coming at you, doesn't matter if it's down the plate or not. It can be right down the middle of the plate, and if you just don't see it right, you don't see the spin on the ball correctly, you don't see the ball coming at you correctly, you're going to swing and miss every time. The second hardest thing to do is hit a golf ball straight. There is a kinetic chain that goes from bringing the club behind your head, turning your hips at the same time, and then staying on top of the ball, similar to hitting a baseball, actually. Except in this case, the ball stays still. But it's some of the similar mechanics. That's why if you notice, some of the best golfers are also really good at making contact with a baseball, as long as it's not like a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, obviously. And number 3 is the exchange for a catcher, from catching to throwing. These are all skills that take a ton of time and repetition to get. But anyway, so JT Realmuto saves you on Friday. That's the grit and determination from Friday. Sunday, you had the lead. And then Jordan Romano comes in and completely implodes. And I'm not sure what the Phillies can do about that, because something is wrong with that guy. But for the Phillies to have the resilience and grit to fight back on Sunday, I think deserves a ton of credit. You know, For me, I'm watching that game, down at Slack Die Brewing Company down there in on Route 9. And I remember watching that game thinking, I can't believe they're losing this game. Multiple times I thought that. And they still came back and found a way to win the game. And part of the reason, we'll get to the negative now, why the game almost was lost because of Jordan Romano. He has struggled immensely early this season, and Sunday was probably the worst of all of his outings. And Rob Thompson, the Phillies manager, even he admitted he is concerned about the former all-star closer with the Toronto Blue Jays, who is now in the Phillies bullpen.
The velocity. It's something we got to check into because, everything out of the training room, there's no red flags, feels fine. So I don't know whether it's kind of a dead arms issue or what, but yeah, it concerns me a little bit. The velocity's down.
And for me, I'm kind of looking at this and I'm trying to figure out, all right, so you talk about the velocity being down. Is it mechanics? Is it, Romano said after the first game of the season that he's working too quickly. Well, is he still working too quickly? I mean, does anybody know? Have they fixed that? Is it mental? Is he just not going through the steps correctly? Is he not, what about Bob? He's not doing the work. He's not doing the steps, right? I mean, this is a former all-star closer who had an injury, but he was given a clean bill of health when the Phillies signed him. So it's no longer a physical issue. It's got to be mental or mechanical. And Ruben Amaro Jr., the former Phillies general manager on the Phillies Show podcast, says that, if Rob Thompson is concerned, we all should be concerned.
I get a little concerned when Rob Thompson is usually not so direct when he says, I am concerned. And when he says that, then there's some concern. I mean, it's obvious that he doesn't have the sharpness on his slider, doesn't have the velocity and arm speed on his fastball. I'm not sure if it's mechanical, emotional, or medical, but there is some combination of those things that are not allowing him to perform the way he has performed in the past.
I tend to think that when you have a 2.5 whip, which is horrible, and a 15.75 ERA, which is atrocious, that means that it's mechanical and mental. It's a double whammy. Because again, when a team signs a guy like Romano, he has to clear a bunch of medicals. So it can't be medical. It's got to be mental and it's got to be mechanical. Because there's something about either his how he's stepping on the mound, his release point of the ball. We've seen over the years quarterbacks have to be retaught how to throw a football, right? After they have a shoulder surgery or an elbow surgery, because if they release the ball too late, the ball will be very inaccurate. If they release the ball too early, it's too wobbly. There's kind of like a perfect sweet spot at the top of a quarterback's arc. Similar to throwing a baseball. If you release the ball too soon or too late, the ball is going to have a lot of you as a pitcher are going to have a lot of aim problems, right? And so I think we should all be concerned about Romano right now because he needs to get this figured out. I mean, it is bad. So you guys let me know how you feel. Phillies win 2 out of 3. That's good news. Bad news is former all-star closer Jordan Romano, he is a I don't want to see you in the game ever again kind of pitcher right now. All right. Before we get to the text board coming up on the other side, 609-403-0973. Your DMs into 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. I have a question for everyone. Now, if you're watching me on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig, you will see I am wearing the red P. All right? Not any red P, the maroon. And the reason why I'm wearing this is because I got into a conversation on Sunday, yesterday. I forgot what day it is. And The conversation had to do with the fact that I am tired of the cream jerseys. I have seen the Phillies wear way too much blue this weekend. The Dodgers are a team that wears, historically, Dodgers are blue. They're literally called Dodger Blue, is the name of the color. But yet the Phillies on Friday has City Connect uniforms that are blue and black and yellow, so it's like nothing to do with the Phillies' original colors. Saturday and Sunday, they wear the cream uniforms, but the cream uniforms have the blue hat and the blue cleat with the red P on the blue hat, and then the cleats usually have red laces, or maybe like the swoosh is red, or they wear red socks. I am at the point where I hate the cream uniforms. I am so stinking tired of them. The Phillies are red. Whether it's maroon, whether it's the Phillies bright red. So I came up with a list. When the Phillies play at home, the hierarchy should be number 1, red pinstripe. It's the classic. It's the best. It is iconic. The Phillies have now been to multiple World Series in a world that they started wearing the red pinstripe. 93, 2008, 2009, 2022. The red pinstripe is iconic. It is what we identify with the Phillies. From the moment you grow up as a Phillies fan, you know the red pinstripe uniform. You know the red hat. That should be the number 1 home uniform. Not these stinking creams. Number 2, the powder blue. The powder blue is also iconic. It is a classic. It is a throwback. It gives you fond memories of when Mike Schmidt and people like him, Steve Carlton, were wearing the Phillies uniforms. I know number 3 is a little controversial. I like the Phillies uniform with the all red top. I like that one. If you want to tell me it shouldn't be 3, I'm fine with that, but I think it should be ahead of the cream. Because again, it's Red October, not Cream October, okay? It's not blue and red October, it's Red October. Number 4, the Maroon P. Now, they haven't worn this in a very long time, but when they have worn it, whether it's the shirt that I'm wearing right now here in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios, or when it's throwbacks, or when you're watching old tape, listen, when you see footage of Mike Schmidt, Steve Carlton, and the great Phillies players of the late 70s and early 80s, it's almost always either powder blue or maroon P. Hate to break it to you, there was no City Connect and no cream with the blue and the red back then. Then if you want to go cream, I'm fine with it. But it's got to be 5th. 6th place at the bottom are the trash, pathetic City Connects. The only value of those City Connect uniforms are the hats. I will admit the hat is cool. I do like the hat, the City Connect hat. Otherwise, the uniform is just straight garbage. And on a weekend where you are playing a team that's wearing blue, I don't want to see you, my Phillies, wearing blue. Whoever thinks that wearing the cream uniform with the blue hat and the red P this often is a good idea needs, as my grandmother used to say, take a long walk on a short pier and enjoy the water because it's cold, because that's where you belong. Phillies need to wear red. And as I said earlier, everyone has opinion on this. Doesn't matter who you are. Everyone has a Phillies uniform they prefer. So let me know. 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. And we are live on my YouTube channel at Josh Henning. Before we get to your guys' thoughts and comments on all things Phillies, first, Yeah, you know what the sounder means. I need caller number 7 at 609-573-3776. Your final opportunity for today to qualify for the Eagles draft party, where you can win a pair of Eagles club box tickets for a game in 2025. You can win an overnight stay at Ocean Casino Resort, Ocean Casino Resort gift cards, and more. But you must be a qualifier. 609-573-3776. Caller number 7. You are in. And then you must be present on Thursday, April 24th, where Mike Gill and the Sports Bash will broadcast live from 2 to 6 p.m. You must be present to win Thursday, April 24th for the Eagles draft party. Caller number 7, you're in at 609-573-3776.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN. The Sixers facing the Miami Heat tonight in South Florida with 4 games remaining on the season, and Philadelphia riding an 11-game losing skid after they fell Saturday to the Minnesota Timberwolves. They'll face the Washington Wizards on Wednesday to complete the 2-game trip. Tonight's game can be heard on Rock 104. Tonight, the men's national championship in San Antonio. Houston facing the Florida Gators. Coverage starts at 7 right here on 97.3 ESPN. Houston looking for their first national title, coming off a come-from-behind victory Saturday against Duke. Florida beat Auburn in an SEC showdown, looking for their 3rd men's basketball championship. Major League Baseball, the Phillies with the day off today. They'll begin a 3-game set with the Atlanta Braves on Tuesday. Philadelphia beat the Dodgers Sunday 7-2, taking 2 of 3 in that series. The Flyers are back on the ice Wednesday at Madison Square Garden, where they'll take on the New York Rangers. Progressive Insurance, bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zara. We will finally dry out and clear out tomorrow, but temperatures are going to be on the chilly side for a few days. Rain exits this evening. Low temperature tonight will dip to 35 degrees, and tomorrow's going to be bright and sunny, but windy and cold. High of only 47. Sunshine and calmer conditions Wednesday, high of 50. Mostly cloudy and breezy on Thursday with a high of 54. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card good for use at Jester's Dive Bar for just $25.
Get this great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
We'll check out the text board in just a bit. 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. By the way, congratulations to Kevin in Northfield. Kevin in Northfield is the latest qualifier for the Eagles draft party contest. Of course, your next chance to qualify will be tomorrow morning during Unsportsmanlike, heard here on 97.3 ESPN. And then hear from more Sounders on Mike Gill and the Sports Bash tomorrow from 2 to 6. Then we will have one more opportunity tomorrow on Game Night. We do it the rest of the week. That's the schedule. So you have 3 in the morning and then 5 in the afternoon. So you have 8 total chances tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to qualify for the Eagles draft party at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City. Thursday, April 24th is when it all goes down. All right, let's get to some of your texts. Because I said, I think, now, I got to admit, before I get to the text at 609-403-0973, I know that in life, we all tend to overreact a little bit sometimes, right? So I fully understand that there is an element to all of this that is subjective. It depends on how you grew up, what you remember, what you don't remember about baseball, right? So I understand there's a lot of variables that go with this. So I'm not going to ignore the fact that, some of our preferences on uniforms has to do with, what we remember, like how we grew up, how we remember these guys. So I'm fully aware that for someone like myself, I look at the Phillies uniforms and to me, the red is everything. It's the red P, the maroon red P, it's the red hat, it's the pinstripe, it's everything red, okay? So maybe I'm a little biased in that category. To me, Phillies are red, Eagles are green, Flyers are orange and black, Sixers are some combination of red and blue. Some combination, except from the black uniforms during the Iverson era. To me, that's who you are. And if you wear any color that is outside of your color scheme, I'm not a fan of it. So maybe I'm a bit of a get off my lawn, or I am getting older, right? I got gray hairs on my sideburns now, for goodness sake. But still. So I understand that, when people were coming at me on social media yesterday, basically people not liking the powder blues. I had some people telling me they don't like the maroon P. I had some people telling me the powder blue is the best. Some people saying that they missed the classic blue spring training away jerseys they had years ago. Hated those as well, personally. But, there's a lot of divergent opinions on this. Get some of your messages now. George, Summers Point chimes in. I totally agree with you on your uniform choices for the Phillies. However, I'm not a fan of the red tops. There has to be some class and some history in the uniform. As you said, you would not see the Dodgers wearing a different uniform or a team like the Yankees who has done nothing but win over the last 100 years of their existence. They don't wear alternate uniforms either. They should just give those City Edition uniforms away to a Little League team in Philadelphia. That's George and Summers' point. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, the City Connect uniforms are just so dumb. They're like the most useless thing in the world. Like, I just don't understand it. Like, whoever thought the City Connect was a good idea? Just bad. It's a bad, bad job. All right? Look, to me, the history of the Phillies is, and again, if you're going through the history of the Phillies, I got the full thing mapped out on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig. The pinstripe uniforms go back like 70 years at this point. The maroon uniforms that they wore during, the 70s and 80s, the powder blues go back a long time as well. Now, the road gray with the Phillies red, that only came around about 92. So that's why if you're someone of my age group who your fondest memories as a child watching the Phillies is basically from like 1990 to 95, you remember when they made the change from the maroon pinstripe back to the red pinstripe, when they made the transition from the maroon P road uniform to the brighter red Phillies grays on the road. So you will distinctly remember those uniform differences. What we know as the cream look today was really only something I introduced in 2008. But it was a rarely used alternate uniform. It was not a primary, right? So the idea was you're wearing the red pinstripe most of the week, and then you'll wear the cream maybe on like a Sunday home game or a special occasion home game or something. This team wore the cream uniform on Saturday and Sunday this weekend. It's just ridiculous. I hate it. Absolutely hate it. Now, I understand where George from Summers' Point is coming from. Because George from Summers' Point clearly is stating that he's comparing what the Dodgers and the Yankees do and saying these are two organizations with a ton of history and that their style of uniform is something that George Summers' Point says that should be the model. That should be the standard. Like the organizations that have won a lot of games, that should be your role model. It shouldn't be whatever the Phillies think their role model is. I don't know. I mean, don't the Phillies have the most losses of any team in sports history? Or they're one of the teams that lost the most games in sports history? Like, why would I care what the team wore in 1942 or 1948? Seriously, why would I care? Because, by the way, that's what the cream uniform that you see today is based off of. There was a variation of the cream that was introduced in 1948. But when the Philadelphia Whiz Kids went to the World Series, what were they wearing? The red pinstripe. Again, the history of the franchise, like George Summers' Point saying, it's more classy. It's not gimmicky. Get rid of the gimmick uniforms, Phillies. It's a bad look, and it's stupid. Why should I turn on the TV watching a Phillies game? I'm already playing the Dodgers, or if I'm playing the Mets, or if I'm playing a bunch of these teams that were blue, the Chicago Cubs, the Kansas City Royals, and you're wearing blue too? Why? Whose stupid idea is this? See, George Summers' Point gets it, even though he disagrees with me about the red top. That's fine, because George gets the principle of the point. What George is saying is there is a decorum and an aesthetic that comes with baseball. I don't want my baseball team looking like a gimmick. I want my baseball team looking like professional ball players. A couple more messages that would come in says, Morgan on the DMs says, my go-tos would be the red pinstripe, the red jerseys. He says, but I also think the cream and City Connect are below those. He says he doesn't like the powder blue, and he doesn't like the maroon P. I feel like Morgan is a little bit of a younger person, so he doesn't understand the history of what those uniforms mean to the franchise. Nicky Nuggets chimed in. Nick Earnshaw chimes in. Powder blue all day. All right? See, I told you. You may not think you have an opinion, but everyone has an opinion on this. Ryan on the DMs chimes in, says, powder blue all the way. You dum-dum. All right, thanks. I didn't know we were at the point where we're calling people names. Listen, that's why I said some people love those powder blues, and they're passionate about their love for them because there's a history, there's an affinity that comes with that color scheme. All right, a couple more messages get to you before we hit the break. Also on the DMs, talking about the Phillies uniforms. Phil chimes in and says, I think the Phillies cream uniforms are the worst, but I would have City Connect higher on a list. I would put them at number 3. I just hate the City Connects. I told you, hat's fine. The uniform, no. So Phil and I, we agree on the hate of the cream. We disagree on the hate of the City Connect. Told you guys, everyone has an opinion on these things. Let's see if we got anybody else on the chime in here. All right, that's all we got for now. Somebody else wrote something and I can't understand it. This is like English. Yeah. To me, I say that while I'm happy the Phillies won 2 out of 3 this weekend, I want to see more red from them. Again, it's Red October. It's not Cream October. It's not City Connect October. It's not Blue and Red October. It's Red October. If you're not wearing red, I don't want to see it on you. Just where I stand on it. We'll squeeze in one more text for you at the break. Bill from Upper Township chimes in at 609-403-0973. Says, the powder blues are basically just a throwback uniform. They look classy, but the regular uniform should be the pinstripes and the rotaways. Bill from Upper Township gets it. See? Bill from Upper Township gets it. The powder blues are in the rotation because they're a throwback. But the primary is the red pinstripe and the gray and red away. That's the standard. And anytime you're not wearing those 3 uniforms, I have questions. I feel a little better about myself right now. Josh Hennig live in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. All right, so to come. Do we need to see more Edmundo Sosa? Plus, who's going to win the national championship game tonight on 97.3 ESPN? I'll give you guys a hint. I had Houston and Florida in the final. So you know that either I know something or I just got real lucky. You can determine that coming up next here on 97.3 ESPN.
The 2025 NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament has been a great ride with crazy finishes and some dominating performances. And now it's down to just one more game for the title. Tune in Monday night to hear Westwood One's exclusive coverage of the NCAA Men's Championship game right here.
Listen to the NCAA Tournament Championship game. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. on 97.3 ESPN.
Save thousands at Matt Blatt Kia. Get out of your old trade today, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Go to mattblattkianj.com for more details. That's mattblattkianj.com.
It's gotta be a
Matt Blatt Kia.
What if your limited inventory had unlimited potential? What if your biggest risk was not taking one? What if you could make every move matter? Bank of America's business solutions can help bring your biggest what-ifs within reach. Find out how our digital tools, cutting-edge insights, and trusted expertise can work for your business. What would you like the power to do? Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
New Jersey's got a lot of summer wow. From sun and wows to fun and wows. And every wow in between. Find your wow at visitnj.org. New Jersey, little state, lot of wow.
O'Reilly. Get one free set of Brake Best brake pads when you buy 2 Brake Best Select brake rotors. You can upgrade to Brake Best Select brake pads for just $10 more. Or upgrade to Brake Best Select Pro or Import Direct pads for just $20 more. Visit your local O'Reilly Auto Parts. Offer in store only. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it'd go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
As a fan, you know all the important sports cliches. And when you save money by bundling your home and auto with Progressive, you can get out there and give it 110%, even though that's mathematically impossible. And remember, failure is not an option. Well, it's always an option, just not a good one. But you're not worried because you've got ice in your veins. You're on fire. How can both of those things be true at the same time? Well, that's between you and your doctor. So get out there and leave it all on the field. Leave what? Who cares? Just leave it and save with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Stay comfortable with Broadleaf's plumbing, heating, and air conditioning in every season. From expert repairs to system replacements, Broadleaf's has you covered. Join their family comfort plan for priority service, repair savings, and worry-free annual maintenance. Broadleaf's offers free quotes, rebates, and 0% financing on system installs. So give Broadleaf's, your local factory authorized Bryant dealer, a call today at 609-390-3907 or visit broadleafs.net.
Before we get back to the text board at 609-403-0973, of course, national championship game tonight on 97.3 ESPN. Houston, Florida, just as I predicted, right? Now, I will admit, I have Florida winning it all on my bracket, okay? Florida winning it all, and I had Houston losing to them. I had 3 of the Final 4 teams right. So either I'm really smart or I just happen to figure it out and I won't do as well next year. You can pick which one you want to go with. Because if you look over my college basketball, okay? I'm trying to pull it up right now. So my college basketball numbers, if we're going just off of that, all right, let me see here. Can y'all give me a little more information? Of course, the one thing I'm looking for, well, I know I went 1-1 on the Saturday games. I know that for a fact. What did I do the week before? Let's just pull it up really quick. But the point is that I've gotten more of these wrong than I've gotten right. Or maybe a half and half. Like, let's see here. So after the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8, if you combine it with Saturday, 8-7. All right. So I'm not exactly a genius with this stuff. So maybe I am a little lucky. But in all seriousness, the reason why I picked Florida and Houston to be here is because, one, neither team has a freshman as a major role player. To me, in college basketball, experience matters a lot. I always felt that the teams that have the veterans, the experienced guards, those are the teams that usually win a lot of games in the tournament. Now, it's also why I thought St. John's going to make a deep run, and they lost in the second round. So the formula does not always add up. The formula may be rational, but it doesn't always add up to what you want it to. But I thought that the Florida Gators with Walter Clayton Jr. and all those veteran players with experience was just going to be too much for a lot of teams. I saw them have so many upsets this year. They beat Tennessee in Tennessee. They took down Alabama in Alabama. This was a very good team this year. And I'm still picking them to win the championship, not just because I have them in my bracket, but because I think Florida has the style of play that is able to grind with Houston. They are unafraid to make it ugly. This is a Florida team that has won almost every game in the tournament after losing at halftime. I think they grind just as much as Houston does. So for me, I like Florida to win, and I also like the under in this game. Just like I got the under with Houston almost every game in this tournament. Houston is going to grind this game to a halt. They are great defensively. They are very athletic. In fact, there are these crazy stories about how they practice making baskets, and they just go for rebounds and defense half the practice, right? But I think Florida is the more well-rounded team, and typically the more well-rounded team wins championships. So I still think Florida wins tonight. You hear the game here on 97.3 ESPN. Pre-game coverage coming up in about 8 minutes from now, and then the game will tip off, I believe, around 8:45 is the scheduled tip. Forgive me if I don't remember the exact time, but I know it's in the 8 o'clock hour, which I always hated because I never understood why the national championship game needs to be starting so late Eastern time. It's like they hate anyone who wakes up early for work. It's crazy. All right, couple more texts to get to before you break out of here. Lee in Bridgeton chimes in at 609-403-0973. He says the City Connect are meant to represent the colors of the Philadelphia City flag, as was the Eagles' first uniform in 1933, but it shouldn't be used for uniforms. That's from Lee in Bridgeton. Yeah, Lee, I'm familiar with the reason why they use those colors. You're right. That's why the Eagles used those uniforms back in the 1930s, and it's the reason why they came up with the City Connect in the first place. It's a nice, cute memento. But if they really cared about the history of the city, first of all, just fly the city flag. Okay, you could have the American flag on one pole, the city flag next to it. If they care that much about it. Frankly, Lee and Bridgeton, I don't know in all my years I've ever seen the city flag flying anywhere except for City Hall. And I think that was only a special occasion. Number two, if they really care about the history of the city, why don't you teach about it? Stop showing me uniforms that are based off of a flag. Teach me the history of the city. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Nobody actually wants to learn about history anymore. Except for geeks like me. I just started Teddy Roosevelt's biography. I'm absolutely fascinated by it. I mean, Teddy Roosevelt's family history is so bizarre. It's probably why I'm a sports geek, because I love history and learning about stuff. Yes, the NFL draft is 3 weeks away. You know, the Eagles, they got some interesting names that are coming through there. One of them is Sanders, the defensive tackle for South Carolina. I've been telling you guys, South Carolina had a lot of studs this past year who are going to be in the draft. Sanders, Kyle Kennard, they got a lot of dudes. I can see any of those. 3 of their 4 starters, I can see any one of those 3 in an Eagles uniform next year. Jeff from Summers Point chimes in. Says, National Championship game is 8:50. Not to mention, on a rainy Monday, I'll be asleep by 9 o'clock. Go Gators. Jeff from Summers. Yeah, how about the rain all day? I felt like that we just got washed away. Where's Noah and his ark when I need it? I mean, there was so much rain today. It was ridiculous. Everywhere I drove, there was localized flooding. Yeah, they always say that on the weather forecast. Beware of localized flooding. Yeah, I dealt with that all morning drive in here. All right, thanks to everybody for texting in. At Josh Hennig on Twitter platform. At Josh Hennig on my YouTube channel. Thank you all for checking me out. I'll be back on tomorrow, 6 p.m., following Mike Gill in the Sports Bash, right here on 97.3 ESPN.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior